Hi, this is Pastor Dave. Welcome to Persistent Hope. This week we are talking about the sovereignty of God. Now, when we say God is sovereign, that means we're saying He is supreme over everything. There is no one above Him. He is Lord over all. If God is in control, why do so many things happen that make no sense and are clearly not what God would want to have happen? Well, that's because He's given everyone the ability to choose. So every day, whether it's a big decision or a small one, we choose who we will serve. Now, think through with me. If many people choose not to put God first or to make decisions and choices that are good for them but may harm other people, well, if that happens with enough people doing that, can't you see how evil will increase in the world? Can't you see why there are more innocent victims? I think one of the problems with understanding God's sovereignty is that we use common expressions about God, well, that simply aren't accurate. Let me give you an expression. You've probably heard this. God will never give me more than I can handle. Have you heard someone say that? God will never give me more than I can handle. The reality is, nowhere in the Bible does it say that. In fact, it says the opposite. It's when you come to the end of yourself and the end of your strength, that's when you can turn to God and watch Him work. There's a promise in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12 where God says, "My grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness." So when the tough things happen in life, don't try and convince yourself that it's not more than you can bear. You can do it. Hang in there. I want to suggest to you it takes greater strength to admit to God, I can't do this. I need your strength. God's sovereignty doesn't mean that He will stop bad people or bad choices. It does not mean He will stop bad things from happening all the time. But it does mean His purpose will always prevail, no matter what it might look like at the moment. The safest, most secure place you can be is in the middle of His will. But you have to choose to put Him first and ask Him for the wisdom you need to live life. And that is a persistent hope, not the absence of difficulty, but the presence and power of God. Hey, I've got an assignment for you sometime today. Bow your head and simply say, God, I want to give you control of today. God, I want to give you control of today. That's all. God bless. So, you guys, I think we get into trouble when we equate God's blessing with the good things that happen to us. I remember seeing a cartoon in Good Housekeeping years ago. Two dogs are talking to each other. Coming behind those two dogs that are talking to each other, there's a guy holding a biscuit. And one dog's looking at the other dog saying, I've got this guy trained. Every time I sit up, he brings me a biscuit. And you thought, okay, from a dog's perspective, ha ha ha, we're the ones training the humans. Well, you know what? I think we do that with God. I think sometimes in what we think is theology, we're saying, now, if you do this, God will do that. We need to be careful. I believe we can position ourselves to be blessed by God. I believe there's greater blessing in obedience than there definitely is in taking any shortcut that ignores God. But remember, don't define blessing. Let God show you what blessing is. When we try to define it, well, then we turn it to material things, things that we can see, results we want, feelings we're seeking, experiences we're after. You can't do that with God. When you put Him first, He decides. That's why Psalm 37 says, when you delight yourself in the Lord, He will give you the desires of your heart. He will give you the desires of your heart. Well, how's that possible? Because when you delight in the Lord, His purposes become your purpose, and you realize the blessing you have in Him doesn't always equate to a better life or easier things happening, but it always equates to a peace that passes all understanding and a hope that endures. And you see, as you live that out to the people around you, that's going to show them there's a real difference to knowing Christ. God bless.